and I hope this works. I think we are live now, so welcome everybody, and please let me know if you can see us. Just let us know in the comments. If you're watching the replay, please type replay, and also let us know that you are seeing this. And let us know where you're all from, because we are truly trying to pull off a global event right here, and this speaker lineup kind of ties into that, with two beautiful women coming from Australia, from the United States, and then Vito, Paul, and myself coming from Europe. I'll even include the UK in Europe. Leo, thanks for confirming that we are live. And Restream also says that we are live,
Nice.
So we can start and do the formal intro. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for joining us on the kickoff event of the WP Feedback Summit. And I'll just leave it to Bridget to start off introducing herself. So, Bridget, please take it away.
Hey, y'all. I'm Bridget Willard. I do marketing for WordPress products and agencies. You can find out more at bridgetwillard.com.
Love it. Kristina.
Yes, I'm Kristina Romero. I'm the founder of WP Care Market, where we connect website owners to quality web professionals for website care. We also train website professionals on how to carry out quality website care. And you can find more at wpcaremarket.com.
I love it. And Paul?
Hello, Paul Lacey here. I'm co-founder of the Dickiebird Studio, which is a WordPress agency in the UK. And I'm also a brand ambassador for RunCloud. And you'll also see me co-hosting the WP Builds Weekly News live podcast with Nathan Wrigley, and often Vito Peleg.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
So Vito, take it away. For everybody living under a rock, who are you? What you are doing?
So when they invite me, I go on the show with them, and talk about WordPress once a week. But I'm the founder of WP Feedback, and together with you, we built this awesome summit here for everyone to take online summits to the next step, as we like to say internally.
I love it. Yeah, and I am Jan. I'm part of the WP Feedback team, located in Germany. And I want to welcome Sandy, Adam, George, Leo, Barry, Sandra, and all the other people watching this. So what I want to cover in this kickoff event, and what I would like to use this kickoff event for, is first of all, give a little bit of an insight into the sessions of Bridget, Willard, and Paul. Bridget, Kristina, and Paul, I'm sorry. And then also, I want to go into the questions that we get from the chat. So everybody who's watching this, please let us know if you have any questions related to B2B marketing on Twitter, selling care plans, or scaling or not scaling your agencies. This is the time to get them answered. So take it away with that. And I would love to hand over to Bridget right now, and to just walk us a little bit through what we need to know about B2B marketing on Twitter. Like, what is the best way to get started, and how do we organize our Twitter feed?
And
I know you thrilled me.
In 30 seconds.
Number one, resist the temptation.
Like
resist the temptation to automate, but use your lists. That's like as fast as I can do it.
If you want more,
business to business is about relationships. It's about saying, hey, how's the weather in Germany? It's beautiful here. It's sunny. It's super hot because I can't, whatever. And you just have this relationship, and you're like, and then it's like, oh yeah, by the way, wait, doesn't Kristina sell care plans? Oh, yeah, I don't really do that, because people come to me and they're like, oh, can you build my website? I see you do stuff with WordPress. I'm like, nope, I don't build websites, but I know a lot of people who do, right? And so you're building this network of people that you like. They're your friends, like Kristina was saying. These are my friends. We all get hugs, right? And so when you have that relationship, it's not just, this is my link. This is my link. This is my link. My link. My link. Retweet. 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 Which is just parroting, and it's nothing. It's because we're engineers, we like to automate things because that's fun. The building is fun, but instead of viewing building the tools as fun, flip it and view building the relationships as fun, and your whole experience on Twitter will be different. You won't be so upset. You'll be like, wow, these are friends.
Yeah. What do you think on Twitter marketing, Kristina? Are you active with that at all? I'm just a total newbie to Twitter.
I don't tweet. I haven't ever gotten into that, only because for my agency, when I ran my agency for so long, it was all referrals. And so I never really did any external marketing. Now that we've got WP Care Market, which is more like a product business, and we have training, and the marketing approach has taken kind of a different. I haven't really done Twitter because I agree with Bridget. I think every marketing or social media used as marketing is a conversation, and you don't like walk up to someone in a random conversation like in real life and approach people that way. Like it is a relationship. And so what she said, you want to be able to do a social media or a platform in a way that is authentic to you. And I never felt like I wanted to choose one platform for us, and that was Facebook. So we chose Facebook and just kind of had the conversation over there. Certainly when I get into Twitter, I find it fascinating because I haven't ever explored that for our agency side or for our training side.
Oh man, but I'm gonna proselytize.
Yeah, I know. So Bridget, we need to like sit down and talk, especially since we're gonna be neighbors soon. We need to sit down and talk more about that, and you can maybe turn me on to that a little bit more. But I think
a good burger place in Venice. We'll meet up.
Yeah, let's do it. We're gonna be neighbors in Southern California soon. So yeah, I think the key of what Bridget said that resonated with me was relationship. I think in anything that we do, when we're scaling an agency or running an agency, if we use relationship as the core of those things, you like make better decisions. So whether it's marketing or whether it's the people you choose to work with, you make better decisions when you focus on relationship. Like that's what I live by.
And Butch just made a very good comment. I often wonder how many tweets would exist if automated tweets were removed. And I think that is something that I definitely am guilty of. So what I'm doing right now is I'm just repurposing RSS feeds and sharing them on Twitter automatically, because I didn't yet take the time to really dive into Twitter. But I'm with Bridget that definitely the real tweets are the ones that matter. Yeah.
But I would like to have a caveat, which you and I talked about, Jan, is that there's a difference between scheduling and automation. Automation is what happens when our friends, or maybe not our friends, they should be our friends, spin up a staging site on WP Engine, and then all of a sudden you have a bunch of blog posts that are tweeted out automatically on somebody's account.
Right.
That are from the staging site because they didn't turn off publicize from Jetpack. Okay. Like stop, drop, and roll. Like that's when automation is bad. Or if the RSS feed you're subscribing to suddenly diverges away from things that you believe in. Right. So if you curate it, throw it in your pocket, zap it, IFTT, whatever, I don't know, write your own script. I don't care what you do. I just, manually put in Hootsuite, but that's different because then it's like, hey, I read this thing. It's rad.
Yeah, I love it. And we have a nice question from Adam coming in. He's basically asking what's the best way to start without looking like a total Twitter virgin. That's a nice way to frame it.
Wait, did anyone see that Twitter about the guy who's the security at some like Western museum? Bridget, did you see?
Yes.
Isn't that amazing?
So funny.
He used that as an example. That's a perfect example.
Well, but like, okay, so they used to be that you were a bird, because tweeting is text messaging. That's how it started, right? And so it was a bird, like we're tweeting, tweet. So you got a little bird. So if you were new, it was an egg, right? Yeah. So the first thing you should do, 100%, don't follow one person. Just follow exactly 0 people until you have your header, your profile, your bio, and your website filled out. And then tweet like 2 or 3 times so that you don't look. Right now, there's this wave of spam is Aaron Rodgers 768-453, and then the bio is best WordPress hosting ever. That's spam.
Yeah.
That's the new porn spam. So like we're looking at you following us and then we're going, is that a real person?
Yeah. And what Bridget was, what I was mentioning to Bridget was there's this guy who's a security host at a Western Heritage Museum, and they put him as a social media guy to start doing their Twitter. And he didn't know how to do Twitter, but in his naivety, it was brilliant because he didn't know how to use hashtag. So he wrote hashtag, and he didn't know, didn't know how to end it. So he was like, okay, bye, and it's just the love of just that came pouring through Twitter for this man. Cause it was so authentic and real to the fact that he was just a security guard that was now tasked with social media because of the lockdown. And it's a great example of what not to do, and you want to properly hashtag, you want to know what you're saying and how to say it, but that's a good example of
it became viral.
It did.
You can follow those things, but here's the opposite. We always talk about Wendy's or whatever. That's a risk. If your brand is big enough and you feel like you can absorb the risk of those people don't know what they're doing and they want me to build their website. I mean, because even though I don't build websites or I don't do IT or I don't know how to fix a IMAP problem with several devices on Gmail and Map and Mac, my friend, can you fix this? I'm like, I know somebody who can. It's not me. Yeah. But they think computers, so you do it all.
Yeah.
This is, if you're not doing it right, then you look like an idiot. So that was my little UK thing. Idiot.
I think getting started, you can, if there's already some people that on other social media networks, then follow those to begin with, and just start getting joined in some of their conversations, just so you start getting to understand how it's different than Instagram or how it's different than Facebook a little bit, and then some people will follow you back, and you won't be the egg with 0 followers, which is usually kind of like some kind of porn invite thing. Can you, just follow me to see my pictures or something, which does happen on Twitter, obviously. Yeah. And I've tried it, and it's not worked very well for me, actually, quite honestly, to try and get followers that way. So, yeah, pictures of me. I don't recommend that one, to be honest. So go with a more sensible.
But even if you were doing porn, that's not the right way to do it. You can't hard sell people.
There's better ways to do that. There's better ways to do that. Sorry, I've
right. You have to give them a reason to want.
Yeah. I like Twitter. And that's how I've heard of you, Bridget, before we were both involved in this event. And I guess probably it may be because you were involved in this event that the way in Twitter works, you've got these kind of spheres of the people you talk to, and as you start networking, those spheres just start getting closer together. So I think I possibly private messaged you just the other day just to say, how come you seem to be everywhere in my feed at the moment? And then we figured out where there was some crossover with WP and Up and this event and everything, and so in a bizarre way, kind of Twitter has sort of figured that out, and we're appearing in each other's feeds. But the thing I really like about Twitter is that you can very easily see people that you feel quite nicely aligned to, which is also the bad part of Twitter when Twitter is used for politics, because you can put yourself in a politics bubble and just be completely surrounded by people who say what you say and think that is surely the way that everyone thinks. But when it comes to things like WordPress and business, I think it's nice to surround yourself with other people who like to share. And so
you think there's no politics in WordPress? Have you never contributed?
Oh yeah. But you know what I don't see on Twitter?
Read a few articles.
It's you don't really get on Twitter the what is the best WordPress theme debate over and over and over again like you do on Facebook groups, or what is the best hosting. I think the conversations feel like they're shorter, and there's no kind of bandwidth for that kind of dialogue as such. So you kind of, most of the time, it's quite positive conversations. but sometimes it can be very divisive conversations as well. But you can just move on from that, and it's not really enough feed that's coming back to you and over again. So I like it. I like it for making new acquaintances and contacts, and who eventually become friends that you meet in at events and stuff like that, which is the nicest part when you do. We were talking about this before we went live, how nice it is when you meet people especially in real life, when you've known them online and you've formed an idea of what you think they're like, and then you meet them in real life, and a lot of the time they're the same. You just figure out how tall they are.
How tall they are, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, Twitter is real life, but I just want to say one other caveat. So we're worldwide, right? We're a global community. That was hard for me when I first started hanging out with my WordPress friends. And because the different cultures, like my German and Dutchy friends, are very blunt, like people on the East Coast. Like California's like, hey, wow, and like people on the East Coast are very direct of the United States. People on Dutchies are super direct. And I remember talking to Felix Arntz, he goes, Bridget, it's not personal, we're just German. And I went, oh, that culture, because there's no border.
Yeah, I think that's been the one thing I've absolutely loved about getting into this industry is, I started off in WordPress as doing my own thing, and then as I started coaching, that's what connected me more to everyone around the world. And I have to say, like, my world outlook has changed because of everybody that I've gotten to know and meet. I find that every country has political problems, which was encouraging, but everyone is the human condition. But like, I just, even with what's going on here, I have to say, like, before we got our state lockdown in stay-at-home orders, like 2 weeks before that, one of the people in our community who was in Spain started really talking about this on Facebook, and I reached out to her privately on Facebook, and she kind of let me know what was going on and said, you need to be prepared. And that changed. Yeah. Like we made certain, kind of took that really seriously and then prepared. And we were all ready when our state sort of locked down and kind of locked down before that happened. So I did, and that she was in my WordPress circle. She was in my community. So that's what I love about this. And especially, this is a great example right here. What we're doing with this live kickoff and this entire summit is that this is a global community of people around, like, that started on this like open source software, but it's so much more than that. It's a like-minded group of people. We've all kind of share each other's experiences in this way. So it's changed me in a really good way, and I'm thankful for it.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Gosh,
Vito, you are probably Vito, you are probably the best networker that I've met so far. What how do you do that? How do you make so many friends, and how do you just exude so much energy?
First of all, you know me not only in the social circles by this point. You see, like, yeah. I never turn off. That's the thing. So like that's just the energy is not something that I need to round up, I guess. But in terms of kind of meeting people, I think that like just being on tour and meeting new people every day, that kind of prepared me for networking, because you network with people, dozens of people every single day. So
Leo made a great point.
Yeah, but like maybe people don't know you're a musician. You should what have you learned from being a musician that transferred into this?
So there's loads of things that were applied from the music business into what we're doing now. This is the best example because we were doing like the hell out of like social kind of stuff through the band. So all of the strategies that we're doing for the summit, along with what Jan brought along, were stuff that we were doing with the band all the time. And so so it's just a matter of reaching out and shaking hands. That's it. From that point on, it's like it's just a conversation. And if it doesn't work, you just walk away, you know?
You just slightly walk away.
Yeah.
I'm kind of like Vito too. Like that's my favorite part about running my own thing is being able to establish partnerships and like relationships. And like, I generally like Vito. Like he's just generally like a really good person.
Thank
and on
you.
top of that, you just surprise me with tech wise, how quickly and agile you move. This is a great example of that. So you're right, Vito. You sometimes meet people and you don't really click with them, and you just kind of
You just gotta walk away. That's fine.
That's why I have more than
What's
one
the worst
guitar.
that can happen?
Yeah.
If you're at an event or something, and what is the worst that can happen by just saying hi to someone that you might be interested to talk to? And actually, that's how Vito and I met. We met at WordCamp London, and
Just
we
like
hung
that,
out
randomly, just coming and shaking hand. Hi, hello, nice
Yeah.
to meet you.
Yeah.
And
And you just showed me what you were doing before the software was open, and we were just sat at a table with some other people. I introduced you to a few people, you introduced me to a few people, and some great
Man,
friendships have been
you
made
int-
just from that moment.
you introduced me to more than just a few people. You kicked off a massive wave of meetups that you have no idea about. man.
wow.
Like,
Yeah, I was
Paul,
mainly
is
saying
it-
that
is it-
story so that you would say that.
Sorry?
So,
Okay,
yeah.
I see.
No.
We're leading up to it.
I'm just kidding. No, no, that's
Yeah,
Paul,
no,
is it your mistake that I'm working for WP
Yes.
Feedback now?
It is,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm responsible for a lot
This
of
was like
mistakes
his
on
long
the
evil
screen.
plan. Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty amazing.
I love it.
That's
Yeah, that's
awesome.
so cool. That's exactly how we met too, Vito. Like in WordCamp Berlin last year,
Berlin.
WordCamp Europe. I was chatting to Nathan Wrigley, I think, and then you just ran by with all your
Paul introduced me to Nathan Wrigley at that table that we were just talking about a second ago. It's crazy.
Oh man, now I miss live events where we
I know.
remember places. Remember we can go places and you could
Yeah.
show up at places and
Yeah.
Oh, seriously, I was thinking
physically
about
touch
the
people.
We
bar
do have
crawl I
some-
did in November, and I was like, that
Yeah.
feels like a year ago.
Yeah.
But we're Camp
It does.
Seattle.
Yeah.
In what? In Seattle?
Yeah,
Yeah.
crazy.
It's insane, yeah. But we are trying to mimic this a little bit. Vito, if you want to start a screen share, I think that this is a really good transition into the networking lounge that we are working in now. So can you walk us through
Yes.
that?
So how about we do like a few minutes of we can stop and hang out inside of the places here and maybe continue the conversations as we're kind of showing some sections from what is planned for this week.
We can move your live stream to like full screen here.
Okay,
and then let's
awesome.
do it. I'm not sure if we leave this, then we'll probably leave all the live streaming as well.
Let's see what's gonna happen.
This is one way to tell. Ooh, we all like shifted to the side.
Okay. Nice.
Okay,
That's perfect.
I'm a fan of this.
So, right. So now we're inside our main hall. And from here, we have all the different areas that we can jump into throughout the summit. If you scroll down, you see all the awesome companies that have been working with us to make this event come to life, as well as the full schedule. We got Kristina right here, and and Paul as well was on there. And it just keeps on
Right at the end. Yeah.
awesome.
The best
You
for last.
actually- Paul, you actually were
No, you
upgraded
were-
to the first
You're
day.
upgraded. Yeah. There you are. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh yeah, it's all switched around completely. Yeah, I
Yeah.
can see that.
Yeah, we had to kind of
Yeah, we-
modify a little bit. Last minute kind of changes in here, but you guys can see there's loads and loads and loads of amazing expert conversations that we're going to have in here. And this is just the live session track, which will run 24 hours a day from tomorrow, starting at 9 a.m. GMT, all the way to Friday. 24 hours a day, basically spinning 3 times all of the 8 hours of talks and networking that we're going to have. So the concept, and actually this is a great way of showing this. You can see we're starting, we have 3 hours of talk, and then we have our networking hour, and the same thing happens every 3 hours. We have another networking hour and so on. So when we go to the networking lounge, Let's see what we have in there. And we're just talking about meeting people and trying to create that connection of that, even sometimes a bit of awkwardness of where you walk into a conversation that you have to shake someone's hand. And I'll show you how we try to create that experience in here. So first of all, I'm inside. I'm already in the networking lounge. That's all that I needed to do. When someone else is going to come to here, they might be asked to bring in the password. Depends on their own settings. But that's it. I'm already engaging. In this conversation, we're going to sometimes have hundreds of people that are going to be engaging with each other on here. And to do that, I'm going to show you a little kind of cool feature that we have on that. But to create those relationships that we were just talking about here with Paul, and how I met Jan, and how I met Bridget in the US at the World Fences party over there. So that was because we were clustered into small groups. And that part of it is very important. So to do that, we have our multiple hangout spots in here. And this way I can tell Paul, listen, Paul, or even send Paul a message here on the chat, telling him, listen, man, let's go meet up. Let's meet by the fire, right?
Sounds romantic.
Yeah.
Is there a fire?
we need to put a virtual fire on that page, Vito.
Click on this guy, and we're going to see by the of the areas that we have. I like that idea right here to kind of like run on the side. But the idea is that we can jump between those different areas throughout the event to just see who is there and meet new people. So let's see who is hanging out in the study, or let's see who is hanging out in the cave, and so on and so on. So just always engage with people. And again, this is open 24 hours for the next week. I'm really happy to say, let's see if we reached I think that if I'm going to refresh the page, it might show us that we reached 2,000 signups for the current event. Let's see.
That would be really cool. And the event didn't even start yet.
We didn't even start. Let's see, how many do we have here?
That's so cool. How long did it take you to put this together?
We have 6 weeks since. And we have 1,975.
Good thing you have nothing else to do. A life, who needs that?
Sleep.
Nobody needs a life.
Sleep.
I just don't sleep. That's the trick. It's a Sunday.
And he's in lockdown. He can't run away from the computer.
Yeah, and he's like, oh, I'm busy. You're like, are you really? I know where you are. You can't go anywhere.
And what's really
hey,
Yay!
Hey!
Okay. How you doing, Alex? There's the delay of him watching from the live broadcast onto here. Then he's gonna come from that. But basically, the flow should be really pretty smooth in here. Yeah. All right. It's good to see you, man. I'm gonna leave you here. I'm gonna show them
he's gonna be left in the room by himself.
Yeah. So
I don't know why, Vito, but that just amazed me. Like just then, when there was a different person.
we paid him to join.
Prizes around every corner.
Yeah.
It's gonna be exciting.
Vito.
We should have like a mystery guest in each room.
Yes.
So
Actually,
the day.
So he joined me by the study, but actually in the networking area, because there's gonna be conversations that sometimes we'll have hundreds of people, we wanted to make sure that there are that the conversation has leaders. So we created what we call like takeover hours, which again is something that I brought from the music world. We used to love doing this as a band, going to radio stations and take over the station for an hour and choose the topics, choose the music, and just have a conversation. So we brought this concept to the main networking lounge. Let me go back there. So I'll show you what is happening in there.
Bye, Alex.
Bye, Alex.
Bye, Felicia.
He already dropped off because he wasn't getting the attention he deserved. Yeah. But here below, you see we have our networking host where we have a few of our friends here, and there's going to be a lot more that are going to be taking over the feed for an hour, not talking, but managing the conversation. And then this is another awesome place that we tried to create. And again, like all of these conversations, a lot of them are happening inside the sponsors booths. The idea of being able to huddle around a product that you love is something that that we wanted to create and to bring into the event. And so you can see here we have all of our sponsors, each with their own different booth. With the awards that you like, prizes that you can win in each one.
With spinny wheels.
Spinning wheels. Let's go to ours. I'm not going to win the prize of some of these guys.
I love
awesome
this
stuff in there.
I like
while we are at it, thanks to the big sponsors. Thanks for making this event possible. It wouldn't be even remotely possible just for us.
Oh, this is so fun.
Yes, and all of these companies just came into the game just straight away. You know, like they knew that the community needed something big to happen, and they all joined forces with us to really push this forward in a very short amount of time, as you all know. Let's see what's going on here. Let's do some testing. I'm not gonna win because I can't get the email. I can actually do something, whatever, and spin the wheel.
Now, what do you do if that email exists?
You're gonna win. Maybe a free WP feedback.
I got an ebook that is gonna be sent to me now, and I think there's something off here that I'll check after the call why it's not loading up here. But basically, that's the experience that we're creating on each one of the sponsors booth. You can learn about what they do. You can engage with them. They're going to be here. So like I'm in this video call, we're going to have representatives from each one of the sponsors that are literally going to be here manning the booth. You can, like do this for the Wapu guy here. On the side. You can spin the wheel. High five this guy.
Can I talk to you, Vito? If you're in the booth there, how do I talk to you?
You're also in the call. So it's not just showing the guy. This is an actual live video call like the one that we are in right now. It's not a broadcast. It's like a Zoom. It's like an open Zoom call for each one of these areas. Yes.
I'm just the tech brain in me is just like giddy. This is so fun and so cool that you put.
What's most surprising me is we were able to pull off that the sponsors can manage whether the call is online or whether there's a book a call button, because we cannot demand from our sponsors to man the booth 24/7 for 5 days straight. That would be quite a time commitment. And now what we've done is we've given them the option to enable the call when somebody's there. And if not, you can just book a call with them directly.
So cool.
And
Kristina, one thing I'm looking forward to on this event with the tech is this is probably the first online event where I feel like I will genuinely make some new friends and acquaintances.
That's
because
awesome.
because it's I feel like this is the opportunity how to do it, and the technology. I've become a big icon.
Sorry, Paul.
Right.
No, it's good. Normally,
I know how you feel. I feel the exact same way. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm genuinely going into this one, hoping that I come out of this one with some new people that I know, some new friends, some new contacts.
That's amazing.
Whereas I don't think I would.
Something.
Yeah, I don't think I'd really normally. Bother to do that on a regular event.
I tend to, skip over a lot of live things. What's cool about this is, my work hours are 5:30 a.m. to 7:30 a.m. now in this new environment. So I actually can go online here and actually participate because this will be live and all the time. So I'm excited. I think that's going to be part of my week this week.
Awesome.
I didn't know that. So now I know that.
Yes. So that's like one of the things that is going to be important for all of us to communicate out throughout the week to make sure that just people know that this is not a stack of webinars like you would see on some of the other events that are there. We actually spent a lot of thought and a lot of effort to create that engaging experience, based on our personal experience meeting in these kind of events in the real world. So that's what we try to bring in. And finally, we have our media partners here that just amazing publications within the space that have joined forces with us to kind of like push this event forward. And even we have Bridget here with the WP water cooler. And I know Paul has Matt's hat, right? Let's go inside. Let's see Bridget's.
Matt Medeiros is my man crush.
Well, I mean, I just
think he knows.
Record. This is Jason Tucker's thing. I co-host the show with him.
Yeah, I know. It's Jason's thing, and Bridget is the co-host, kind of like Nathan and Paul duo. Kind of. But like you can just go and engage and learn a little bit about these publications and what they do for the community. And the idea and what we're trying to convey is that there's many ways of supporting this awesome community that we are part of, and we want to encourage and just empower everyone to join and support the community in their own way.
Yeah.
Ooh, great question from Adam.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think we giggle every time the question gets posted on the screen, by the way. I think all of us giggle.
It's so fun.
Wait a sec.
So now
let's bring Paul back here. Yeah, so Adam, you will receive emails every day with the sessions that go live on that specific day. And in those emails, you'll see the links, or you'll just log into my.wpfeedback.co into our community page, and you won't be able to miss the summit on there.
Yes.
I love it. Yeah, so Vito, thanks for that roundup. That was pretty insane in just a couple of minutes.
Thank you.
And speaking of insane, the conversation I had with Paul for this event was pretty intense. And basically what we talked about was whether we scale an agency and the consequences of scaling, or to not scale an agency and to stay small deliberately. And Paul, you shared a very, very touching story about this project you did for a charity in Africa and how that influenced your decision to not scale Dicky Bird Studios the way you did it beforehand. So can you give us a little background of, I know I'm putting you on the spot here to summarize it in a couple of minutes, but can you give us a little more background on why you decided to stay small and the lessons that you've learned from scaling?
So I'm one of those people who's on shows like this just because I've got a big mouth, not because I'm super successful. So one of the things that whenever I'm doing a talk like this, I don't have a lot of amazing success stories to share. So I can't tell someone, go and do this, go and do that, and you will have amazing success, follow my plan, do this, blah, blah, blah. Because I'm a very slow learner. But one thing I've learned over time is that you've got to work with what you've got. So in a nutshell, the message that I'm saying on my talk is that for me, the whole scaling things up like you would a chicken farm by, buying more chickens to lay more eggs, for instance, that concept has never worked for me, and it's been a source of kind of repeated failure over and over again. And it's simply because it's not in my mindset. But what has worked for me is to develop a personal brand and to look at ways to improve what we do and improve the our reach in that way. So there's just so many, I think at the moment as well, it's really that in this time where lots of people are going to be struggling, I can imagine that the Facebook ads are going to pop up everywhere saying, follow my plan, this, that, and the other. Here is the blueprint plan that will tell you how to go from this complete disaster to a perfect situation. And you just need to sign up to my course. And there's going to be tons of that snake oil out all the time. And as we all know, most of us, but at least three of us here I know are definitely elevators, which means that we've done the WP Elevation course, or in Kristina's case, I imagine you've done the course, but you were also a coach on it. Jan and Bridget, I'm not too sure. So there's a great example of a course that does really help people with their sales, but that's one needle in a haystack of a million other options out there. So really my talk was just saying, go with your instinct, keep calm in what everyone else is telling you to do right now, because everyone's got an opinion about this. And you know what they say about opinions, we've all got one, just the same as other things that we've all got. So
No, I
Doesn't
think
mean
Paul
it
you
means
nailed
one
it
thing or
too.
another. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with Paul. And I think especially in this climate right now, people are really coming from an area of desperation. And so they tend to want to be told something that just be told what to do. And we all have good instincts. We need to listen to those. I've purposely stayed small because I followed the advice of Seth Godin. I was able to get like a coaching session with him quite serendipitously. And I wanted to scale really big. And he said, focus on the list you got. And with that advice, everything sort of turned around and I delved deeper into my list and serving the people I served. So I think that's a really important talk, Paul. I'm glad that is the topic that's being shared on Now the First Day, because I think it's wise advice. Big
I
isn't
think it'll
always
be one of the
better.
weirdest talks that people will watch.
Yeah.
Oh,
If only-
now I
if
have
only-
I don't think so. Just because you were choking on a mint.
Yeah.
Did you,
It's a cross between an art
emotional?
project and a talk, almost in some
Performance
ways.
art.
And yeah, maybe something like that. But
But it is-
just I recommend watching it at this time, just to learn from my mistakes, because I've been in business for 15 years doing this, and it's only been in the last 3 that one thing after the other has fell into place, and it's been since I started changing the direction. And prior to that, things are okay, but there was some major disasters in there over the years.
Yeah. Well, funny, I guess we're all in different places at different times, but certainly having my kids was the motivator for me to change things. I mean, I've had the agency now for like 11 years. And with every child was like growth in my business, but because it forced me to address problems, fix issues. If I was stressed, I couldn't be stressed and really productively be a good parent. And so, that kind of held me back from growth in certain areas that probably would have been bad for me at that time and helped me focus more on what I needed at the time, because we all need different things at different times. And we talk about that a little bit in my session, don't we, Jan? So
Yes.
is someone going to be a dad here soon?
I don't know.
I got 2 already. So.
Yeah, certainly expecting our first daughter in June was a major shift for me too in perspective. And it's amazing how much clarity you receive at some point. I mean, it's suddenly that you have to make the hard decisions that you were putting off for so long. And sometimes it's just that situations become very apparent that you probably wouldn't have fixed beforehand, because you were always able to deal with situations, and knowing that you'll have responsibility for a newborn, or for any child for that matter, just puts things so much in perspective that you cannot compromise anymore. Oh yeah, and Troy Dean
today.
Yeah.
Today. That's
Troy, if you're
Wow.
watching the replay,
Congrats.
don't dare to watch us live. If you watch the replay, congrats.
Yeah, I talked to him. I invited him to join and do stuff on the event, and he's like, "I'm gonna have a baby any day now." That's the last I heard from him.
yeah. It changes.
Yeah, it's definitely a good reason to focus. And Kristina, how did you decide what to focus on at that point? How did you know where to direct your attention?
I knew that I couldn't get more time. So if I couldn't get more time, I then had to optimize processes and delegate in a way that would give me time back. So that's where I focused. I needed to find space. So optimization became my obsession. Processes became my obsession. So if something wasn't working, really delving into it. Why isn't this working? How do we fix this? And then I think for us as website agency owners, freelancers, developers, designers, social media marketers, whatever, your role is, sometimes it's really, really hard to delegate because you're afraid someone's not going to do as good a job as you. And I had to get over that fear really quickly because I couldn't do it. So I had to delegate. And if I had a good process, and I felt confident in delegating. So that was a big thing I focused on the most. how do I find time? And I set up for myself this concept, of giving myself a maternity leave. Could this business run without me for 3 months? And what would that look like? And then, try to get to that goal of what that would look like. Yeah.
That's an exciting goal. And I assume you got there now.
We did, yes.
Being a mother of 4, I think you have to be there, yeah.
I did. I had 4 maternity leaves. The first one, I didn't make any revenue. I didn't have recurring revenue, so nothing happened. It was very short. I had to go back to work very quickly. And then I was very sleep deprived and very stressed out and lots of things like that. By the second one, I was beginning to have work, and I utilized another agency sort of help me during that time. So they weren't working for me. They just kind of helped me take over the clients during that time. And my clients kind of knew I was gone. So that wasn't really effective. I didn't make any money as well because I was paying them. But by the third one, I had recurring revenue. I had a team. And I actually got paid during that maternity leave. So I took the time. I came out of that and actually started coaching at WP Elevation. And I look back now and I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I started coaching at WP Elevation when he was like 6 months old. What was I thinking? Anyway. And then this last one was the most successful, because everything was in place and I had lots of revenue streams. And so, yeah, each got better over time.
Yeah, perfect.
But it also, as you know, when you've got kids, they can do that special trick where they all get really ill at exactly the same time. So, and so you're kind of well set up for that as well. So I mean, it just shows how important recurring income is, because we didn't have any 3 years ago, no recurring income. I can remember trying to sell my first care plan, and my wife, who worked for our company at the time as well, was sitting next to me, and I'd been on a Skype call with a client, and I was really given the hard sell on security. And after the call, Lindsay, my wife, turned to me and was like, that wasn't you then? What was wrong with you? I was just like, I don't know. I was just so lacking in confidence in how to sell this care plan. I just did not know what to say. And that particular client is one of the only people from that day that has not signed up for a care plan. So if you're if anyone wants to know how to do it properly, then Kristina is the person who teaches the right kind of.
Yeah, that's how I learned how to do it. Like from I was telling you, Kristina, when I first got to kind of like set up a call and meet in person, as much as this is, that like my first introduction to you was from a YouTube video from like 7 years ago or something like that, from a WordCamp. I heard something about care plans and that kind of terminology, and I knew I had to get to get it set up exactly for those reasons. And you were the address. You were the first one on YouTube.
Yes. Hey, nice. I didn't even know that. That's good too. And I've gotten so many like messages from people being like, "Thank you." So, I mean, not like I did anything directly. I'm sure they would have found stuff anyway, but now with the situation they're in now, they still have their recurring revenue, so they feel comfortable in kind of the ups and downs of this crisis in the moment. So that makes me really happy, and I love hearing that.
And that's awesome. A really important reminder that reinforced learning is important too. Because a lot of times we go to camps and we're like, I'm not going to that. I already know how to do Flexbox or whatever, right? And so then you miss out on so much of what you need to hear at the time.
True.
So I came from an accounting background, and I knew everything. My whole life was up to the point in 2017 when I lost my dream job. Freelancer, but I knew everything to do, right? And so like the accounting part was never my problem. So I went to Dallas-Fort Worth in October. Nathan Ingram's in there. I'm like, well, I just like Nathan Ingram. I know I need recurring income. I have an album on Apple Music. I have recurring income when people play it on Spotify or whatever. I mean, I'm not retiring or anything, but I know recurring income. But then there was something about the time of hearing it, like Kristina was just saying, that moment in time, I needed to hear it. And if there's one thing I can encourage people besides proselytizing about Twitter is don't avoid talks just because you already know it.
That's true, because all you need is like that one sentence that will help this coin drop and take you a leap forward. That's all you need from these talks, and that's why I try to spend a lot on education, and I read a lot, and I watch a lot of podcasts, and to just try and find those little things. 95% is the same wherever you listen. By now, I already heard it before, but I still listen for this 5% because that's what really pushes you forward.
Yeah, and it's like if you hear something in the way somebody says it too, it sometimes gives you the right words for you to kind of put in that memory bank to kind of use what Paul was talking about when you get on that call and then suddenly like you're regurgitating something you didn't even know you knew. Like the other day we had a workshop for our coaching students where Akshat from Blog Vault was on. And I was like, can you just tell me how to explain a firewall? Like I just, and he just went on about, the difference in security scans in a firewall, that I was just like, I need those words. Like I need those words because I couldn't really put that into my tone, into my, phrase of how to say something. And I walked away going like, okay, now I feel really, really confident in explaining security. If someone's asking me why that's
good at breaking down this stuff, it's insane. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm glad we have Oliver Sill from WebArcs on this summit too, because he's also one of those people who makes the stuff really easy to understand.
Yeah, like hearing the people who can digest that information. That's what Troy Dean was like for me for so long, getting information from different places, but digesting it in a way that applies to our industry or how we do things. And I feel like, especially for me with training, that's my goal. If I can do anything, I'm not maybe inventing something new under the sun, but I'm just showing you how we've digested the information and how we're applying it.
Yeah. That's a great thing. And also, as Bridget said, with this reinforced learning, I think it just serves us to be humble at some point and to just pay attention to what others have to say about the topic that you think you already know a lot of, because that's at some point you'll hear this one golden nugget in a podcast or in an audiobook or whatever. And whenever I take my dogs out for a walk, I always have Audible on, and then that's like 30 minutes, 45 minutes for the short walks where I can just learn while enjoying nature, I guess. And it's all about these little snippets and pieces.
Yeah, I like Audible. It's the way I read too now. And that's how I read right now, by listening.
I don't read as well. Yeah, I just listen. It's
See, I'm this person. I'm taking notes for this call, right? And there's a different neurological process that happens when you physically write something down.
Yeah.
Learning, that's what my student loan was for. Like secretary was my trade, student loan was for teaching. And so I'm constantly having notebooks. It's not even that I go to them. It's just that by the act of
process
writing.
of doing it. I do exactly the same. I have my notebook right here. but
a pen in my hand.
New feature for the summit, Vito. We need a digital notebook where we can.
Actually,
21.
We were supposed to do that, but if we had one more week, and we don't have it.
It's already pretty loaded. I don't know. It's pretty important.
No, they need to take their own notes. That's the whole problem. Because we type and then we don't remember. Because typing is not
like writing.
learning.
It's like muscle memory. Is it muscle memory or something?
It's muscle memory, and it has to do with how our brain processes language.
Yeah. Do you know, I've done a few little talks, technical talks, and normally I will always want to do a talk about something that is fairly new to me that I'm excited about. So, in fact, I'm not an expert completely at the thing I'm talking about. I just think it's cool and I want to share that information. But in doing that, it's just like the thing that I never did at school, which was revising for the exams. I have to actually figure out what I think I know, put it into some kind of correct order. And then when you actually speak it, I'm almost probably one of the most beneficiary people from the talks that I've done, because I've come away and I'm like, that actually made sense when I was saying it out loud this time. And I think it's a similar thing to writing stuff down. It's just this, somehow you can make stuff get stuck in your brain rather than just passing through and then the next thing comes along, because I think we get so much information so fast that even just a couple of seconds to write something down is actually more attention than what we normally give to just spinning through things on social media. So I think it just slows everything down and lets it settle in. That's my scientific tip for the day.
It's actually accurate. So I mean, that's
good
because you're hearing yourself. I mean, I just released my humor book. It's just ridiculous. It's cell therapy. It's called Dysfunctional Love Songs, affirmations for the hopeless romantic. And it's like my goal is everybody should write these affirmations out with their handwriting and then say them and record it on their phone and listen to that. Because what we're doing is we're listening to these song lyrics of these stalkers. Like Sting needed to be given a restraining order. Like if he's tracking every step that you make and every move you make, you need to change your passwords, and you need to block him on social media, right? Yep. Like, but we keep singing these songs, and then we're singing as we sing, and our brains we're reinforcing it auditorily. Sorry, and so. But instead we need to say it ourselves. That's why all that affirmation stuff works. I am awesome. I love me. Right? And so as you're teaching, as you're learning something and you prepare to teach, you're actually reinforcing it as you speak it too.
Yeah, important lesson. And there is one other good question. And Vito, I think you need to start the screen share again, because I see many people or a few people asking for where to go for the timetable for this event. Right. So maybe if you start the screen share again, I'll bring it back to the screen.
Right.
And then I think this is also a good time to mention that today is the last day to upgrade for the lowest price if you want to have lifetime access to these sessions. So that is, we've prepared a link for that, wpfeedback.co/upgrade. If you haven't already upgraded to lifetime access, I think now is the day to do, because tomorrow when the summit starts off, we'll have to increase the price to just stay consistent with what we've said so far. And
I didn't do that last year. I didn't for your last year's event, Jan. Yeah. And the price went up, and I was gutted because I decided I wanted it after about halfway through, and the price wasn't the same. Fortunately, I was able to. You saw that I bought your last year's event recently.
Yeah. Thank you so much for that.
That's awesome. And basically what we're trying to do with this thing, first of all, like exactly what we were talking about here before, you're going to have 30 talks on this event, more than 20 hours of expert talks that are going to be running throughout this whole week. And it's while it's awesome to listen and engage throughout the event, it's even better that you can go back to it and have a look and to find that little gold nugget that can actually move you forward into that. Also, for us, it's just a way so that instead of us charging this for a ticket, like most events do, we give you the option. And if you want to get this awesome knowledge, then you can do that and support the summit. But if not, you can come in and join the party for free. Now the
party never ends when you upgrade.
Oh yeah, exactly.
And one more thing about the early bird pricing. This may or may not be true, but I've heard that you might get a free puppy if you sign up with the early bird. Like I say, that may or may not be true, but why risk it?
Yeah, you never know. You never know.
I don't need any more responsibility in my house. I'm pretty good.
Self-maintaining.
I'm fine. I don't even need a plant.
You can swap it for a cash alternative.
There we go.
I'm not responsible for any mammals. There's just plants and clients.
Love it. And Paul is turning into Adam today.
I'm in that spot. It's the same in the WP Builds live news. If you're in the bottom spot, you get a mask every few seconds, and you get a new face.
To be an early bird on this.
I know, that's why I was the last one to sign in, wasn't I? So that's always the last one.
So some people were asking about the schedule. That's how we got to talking about this in the first place. And if you go to wpfeedback.co/summit, first of all, you can join us. We have probably more than 2,000 by the end of this call that already are attending and joining us this week. And we're pretty much based on previous benchmarks, we're pretty much going to double this throughout the event. So it's definitely something to be part of. On this page, if you scroll down, you're going to see all of the talks that are happening on each day. And this is all already up to date with some information about each one, the ones that we already have, and we're going to keep updating this. Now, you can't see any hours in here. Inside the event, there are hours. So if I'm going to go to the, I don't have it open here, but trust me, if you go to the main hall at the bottom, you'll have the hours as well. But anyway, the talks spin. So what you're seeing here is we have 6 talks a day, as you can see right here. These will spin 3 times a day. Plus, there's going to be 2 hours of networking sprinkled just between them. This way, we have these 8-hour cycles, cycling 3 times, covering 24 hours. So you can come in with it from your own, in your own time zone, and enjoy them.
But if
More
you
than
wanna,
that, yes.
But if you want to hear Lee Jackson specifically, what are the 3 times that he's going to be on?
So,
I think she's asking.
Yes, on the main hall, we have the exact timing for this. Let me just open this up here.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's going to be right there at the bottom. But also, during the day, all the talks are there anyway. So even if you're not engaging live with anyone, you can jump in throughout the day and find the right talk for you. During the day, you will find all of those 6. Even though the nice experience is to experience this with everyone, you know, like when you go to a cinema and you just sit in a room quietly with other people.
A watch party. Yeah, exactly. You could do watch party, or you could watch it all by yourself.
Yes,
I like that.
Exactly.
Meet
all
on
the
Zoom with
introvert
your
watch
family
party.
and then watch it together. Yeah.
So
That's how we have to do it. We have to watch certain kids movies that way too. Got to watch a movie before you show kids.
Yes. So in here we wrote the 3 time zones that we're going to be spinning each one of the 3 times during the day. That we're going to spin each talk. And
I hope I make everybody proud going first. I hope I.
Yeah, you're going first and 8th and 9th and
like a snake draft. Right? Yes,
yeah.
Exactly.
No doubt about that, Kristina. No need to worry.
Yeah. Fun.
It's gonna be awesome. Yeah, so this is the schedule. Everything is gonna be here when you need it, guys. Don't worry.
Yeah.
I'm impressed at the organization, actually.
Thank you.
I'm really impressed.
I mean, that sounded bad. I know I'm not supposed to say actually anymore. But I mean, I'm normally kind of like, okay, whatever.
Hard to impress, Bridget. Hard to impress.
I'm very hard to impress because, you know, if I'm going to watch it on TV, I'll just do it whenever. But the way this is set up is actually worth attending. Like, I'm with you, Kristina. I'm like, okay, Mom, make some time to watch some of these talks.
Yeah.
Because, you know, it's going to matter. That's the scuttlebutt on Twitter, you know, tweeting about what, you know, so if somebody's tweeting, like for me, if I were watching this, I'd be like, oh my gosh, Kristina just dropped this tooth bomb. If you want to watch it again, you got to show up at this time. Yeah. There's only 2 more times to see this, baby, you know? And it's amazing. I'm just really
awesome.
Impressed.
Put in a lot of work. It's evident. That just thank you for, like, you can see that your value at WP Feedback is community. Like, that's very visible that is a value to your company. So bringing us all together, and we thank you for it.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. I'm really excited that I was invited. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for making this event happen. I mean, without speakers like yourself, Vito and I would have been chatting for like 30 sessions over the next 5
years.
Yeah,
but like the way you structured it, because I was invited to do other virtual things. I'm like, you want me to do a slide deck so that you can put it on your YouTube channel? I got 10 fingers. You can pick 2, you got 20% of a chance to get it. Like, but you guys were like, no, there's no slides. I go, oh, no slides? All I have to do is talk? I'm in, you know, and then the conversation is different. It's more applicable. Like, I could talk about Twitter all day long, but also just go read this blog post, right?
Right.
If that's all you want, to go read the blog post or one of these 10 videos I already have on my YouTube channel. What do I have to do more work? The reason why I go to WordCamps is to talk to y'all, smart people like this. And the way it's set up is extremely impressive to me, and I am hard to please.
That's awesome.
But I think it's the music. That's what I'm saying. Like, I mean, I was a musician a million years ago, and I know that, like, if you don't have the fans, you don't exist. It just doesn't matter, right? But when you do things for the people that care about your art, and we say code is poetry, so.
Like being a musician, I like to summarize it in there's two things that you really are. It's not really, it's some of it is about the music, but mostly you're a t-shirt salesman and you're a community manager. Basically, that's the two things. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff that I'll just take it from there because it's happening. Like we were doing this in a nice way with tens of thousands of people back then. I want to try and create that here for our space.
Yeah, I think we're on a pretty good way with all the community that we have built already just around this. And I am afraid that we have to wrap up soon because we're already at the 1 hour mark. And I don't want to take up much more time. I think we can definitely stay in the comments and on Facebook and just keep chatting, just keep embracing the community. But to wrap this up, first of all, I want to know from our amazing guests if there's anything that you would like to share with us that we didn't talk about just yet. Anything I missed being the moderator?
No, I think this has been great. And I'll try to pop into some of these little lounges.
Nice.
Chat it up with some people, and especially around tomorrow, day 1, I'll try to, since my talk is kind of circulating, I'll jump in and love to chat with you guys. I'm looking forward to it.
Perfect. That's perfect.
I love it. Then all what's left for me to say is that if you are on the fence of signing up, please do, for the free part at least. And if you want to have the lifetime access, and also just check out all the bonuses that we have with that lifetime access, like 3 Q&A calls, onboarding questionnaire that you can just pop into your website to ensure the projects go smoothly, and plenty of other stuff. I think it's a no-brainer at that price to upgrade.
I've heard there's some really good prizes, as well. Like, isn't there like iPads and?
Right, in the prizes, there's iPads, there's iPads, there's stuff like worth thousands of dollars in each one of the sponsors' booths, and there's 15 sponsors, so it's definitely worth coming in and checking out.
I need an extra iPad for one of my 4 children. I'd have too many children. I'm schooling from home. I need to try to win an iPad.
Good luck.
I'm definitely going to try and win an iPad as well.
All right, it's on, Paul. It's on.
Definitely
taking you down at the sponsor booth.
Not a puppy, no. I've got 2 puppies. So those are enough for me.
We can put the puppy on the wheel, Paul.
So please don't sign up. We don't want too many people entering for this free iPad. This is what it's all about. Me and Kristina are going head to head for the iPad.
Don't go to the iPad part. Yeah. Whatever it is.
You can edit live stuff out, can't you? That's fine.
Yeah, we will edit live stuff. Yeah,
sure.
We can pull off a summit, so we'll edit live videos too.
Yeah.
I love it. Thank you so much for joining us, everybody. And as I said, if you watch the replay, please type replay and let us know. And we'll just do the cheesy wave and until I end the broadcast.